right.
Welcome to Sports Back Talk with Boly and Ringer, and it was an interesting last week.
Yeah.
I don't even know where. There's so many places we could start with.
Well, you probably got the perfect partner to talk about it, but I am not gonna.
You're not gonna talk about. You're not gonna talk about
probably
the kneeling. You're not gonna talk about kneeling.
How can I put it? Probably the most frightening, disappointing. I didn't know whether to cry or laugh at everything, starting with the comments earlier in the week from our president, all the way to yesterday of what I saw on national TV from all kinds of angles, protesting and celebrations in the end zone, and I don't know. I mean, here's my take on it, Ringer, and I'm going to leave it at this.
Okay.
I don't consider myself to be a racist. However, I respect the President of the United States, whoever it may be, whether he's Democrat or Republican or independent. Okay? I respect the law enforcement community, sheriffs, deputies, police, county. I respect them all, the jailers, whoever works for them.
Right.
I respect our civil service, all the people in the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines. So, this has been really difficult for me because I will not take a side on it. I have my beliefs on it all, and it's very bothersome because, I'm just caught in between of not liking this and not liking that. But and you guys know me. I mean, I'm not afraid of giving my opinion on this show, but this is one area I will not delve into.
I have to say I guess I'll maybe take it a step further than you did, not to whatever it, but I have to say that I am not in favor of people not standing for the national anthem. I don't like when I go to the local basketball game, hockey game, whatever it is, and I see kids either talking during the national anthem, not paying attention during the national anthem. I think it's very disrespectful. But there have, I guess in the last few days, because it's become so whatever, I guess maybe I've been listening a little bit more, trying to see the other side of it. Mm-hmm. A lot of people saying you may not agree with it, but listen to what's being said, what they're doing. There's a way for people to try to get their point across. And I guess for a long time I've thought about there's better ways than kneeling for the national anthem because you are disrespecting and whatever else. But I've been watching a little show last week on PBS,
okay,
the Vietnam War.
Very interesting. I've been watching a little bit of it myself.
I guess I didn't live through that era, and I didn't have to make a decision on a lot of those things and a lot of where you were, and people had to voice their displeasure in a way and do it non-violently, I guess is maybe the best way to put it. And I think that's what these football players are doing. And like I said, I don't agree with it, but they're doing it and they're trying to make awareness. And somebody said today, I was watching CNN this afternoon after I got off from school, and it was a former football player, and they basically said, we can get together and have a dialogue without having to yell at one another, without belittling one another. Let's get together and let's discuss this. And I guess after listening to all this, and it's really kind of ramped up, like you said, over the weekend, I guess, like I said, I still don't like it. I still don't think it's right, but I guess I can understand why they're doing what they're doing, and it's a race thing. It's one of the NFL football players. I think it was from Seattle. I think I was watching that. I don't remember for sure. Maybe it was San Francisco. Anyway, somebody from the coast, and he said, I'm white and I grew up in poverty. He said this is a poverty issue as much as it is a race issue. Now I don't know about that because I don't think I was in either one of them, so I don't know if I can necessarily say how they feel. And so it's hot.
Yeah, one of the most impactful movies I've ever seen, I think it was shown this past summer, was something about, I think it was the Korean War, about the hill. They had to go up that hill, and they scaled up there on the rope. I can't remember the movie,
I know, yes.
Basically, I mean, it was a guy who didn't believe in guns. He would never hold a gun, but he could go up there and do his part in saving American lives. But I watched that movie, and it just hit me the whole time as I'm getting done to watch it. I mean, I had tears in my eyes. I'm sitting there watching as 18, 19-year-old kids go up that ladder up to the top of the hill where they battled, and basically 95% of them were killed. They were going up that ladder to be killed, 18 and 19-year-old kids. So to me, that's what bothered me the most. I just put myself in the whole situation. I have 4 kids, and thank God they never had to go to battle or fight in a war, and I never was put in that situation. Although I did have to apply for the draft, which they brought back. But to me, that was very impactful to see the bravery and the basically commitment of giving up their own lives for the lives of others, and that's what they did. And 18 and 19-year-old kids, I mean, I remember 18 and 19-year-old kid. I mean, I know what I wanted to do. Okay, I know what I wanted to go, and I was enjoying life. Those kids never got an opportunity to do that.
And just to maybe finish this up, the whole Vietnam thing. It's like I said, it's been very interesting. But I had this. There was one. I believe he was a Marine. Was not in the Army. I believe he was in the Marines, but he could have been in the Army. And he talked about how he was going to go to Vietnam and he was going to make an impact. He thought he was doing right. He was doing the right thing by going over there and doing what he had to do. And when he got there, he didn't see it the same way when he got there, and how somebody who is in the military and all this other stuff could all of a sudden just become totally opposite. It's amazing how things can turn. It's been a very eventful week. I agree.
Yeah,
lots of thought-provoking stuff.
It was real interesting that they were actually able to interview some of the Vietnamese people on this show, and I'm going. I mean, this is some deep stuff. I mean,
the one guy last night saying, I'll tell you my side of the truth, but I could get in trouble for saying what I'm about to say.
Yeah, don't do it. It's not worth it. But it's just that's why this has been hard. And I'm a very opinionated person, but this is kind of where I talk to my wife, and this is what we talk about, and nobody else hears what we have to say. Okay, so. Anyways, sports.
Let's
should we talk about the Vikings right away then?
Yeah, let's talk about the Vikes. I didn't get to watch much of the first half. I admit I was doing some channel surfing in the first half because they were playing so well. Things were going so well. I didn't watch a whole bunch of it, and then the Gopher volleyball team stunk it up, and I pretty much watched the Vikes in the second half exclusively. I mean, to me, Case Keenum was the difference from last week to this week. Mm-hmm. I mean, he made things happen. They weren't one-dimensional, so Tampa couldn't stack up against them. And not that Tampa's defense is not Pittsburgh's defense. That's the difference. Although, you tell me what happened in Chicago yesterday, and then I'll try to explain everything to you about quantum physics too. That doesn't make sense.
Yeah, and I don't know who wrote the article, whether it was Rand or it was Suhan. Basically, wrote an article of how Keenan's was ready yesterday. Like he was going to have a big game. They came right out and said, well, he was 2-0 in his last 2 games against Tampa. Had big games. Had one of the highest passer rating against Tampa than any other quarterback, and whoever it was, and I don't know if it was Suhan, because usually he writes negative stuff, but whoever the writer was wrote all positive that this would be Case Keenan's coming out party, and now with that performance, he has got nice receivers. His Diggs and Thielen are the real deal. They get open, Ringer. They get open.
Okay, so they were there last year. Is the difference though the offensive line?
It helps.
That he has time to throw the ball, where last year Bradford did not have time to throw the ball.
It helps, but they're also running longer patterns. They're keeping Rudolph in a little more, I think, to block. And who's a very good blocker? I don't know if you've noticed this.
Delvin Cook?
Very good. Amazingly good. For a rookie coming out of college and getting the ball as many times he did in college, he's an amazing blocker, and he picks up all the blitzes. It's Nordy would love this kid.
Well, here's the thing about him. He's a number one He's a first round pick.
Yeah, he is.
He
Oh,
really
yeah.
is.
Oh, yeah.
But yet he's out there doing the dirty work. He's out there doing the blocking. He's not afraid to go out and do whatever. They can have him in. You can have him in every down. Adrian Peterson, and I know I'm a big fan of Adrian Peterson when he was doing everything right. He couldn't do those things. He would not block. It was not in his contract to block. His job was to run the ball. Delvin Cook's job, to me, it looks like, is to go out and win football games.
He's a football player, and nothing to ever take away Adrian Peterson. Probably a first ballot Hall of Famer. Pretty close, other than the skirmish he's got on his record now. But Cook, he catches the ball out of the bat. 160 total yards, over that yesterday with a touchdown. Okay. Adrian Peterson, is he a better running back? Yeah, but the NFL has changed Adrian, and that's why he struggles right now in New Orleans, and that's why I think New Orleans has to figure that out pretty quick. It looked like that Kamara, their third back, is starting to get more playing time in third down, and but getting back again to Dalvin Cook, what a nice pick. And they moved up to get him, and then they also got the center that they got, Elfline, in the same draft last year, and he's going to be there for the next 10 years. So kudos to our general manager, Rick Spielman.
Yeah, and I think the defense played pretty well again. I mean, obviously Tampa comes in with some weapons.
Yeah.
And
very good weapons.
3 at halftime, if I remember right. Kind of put the Vikes in the driver's seat yesterday, so things were kind of in control.
Yeah, big win, especially with Green Bay coming back in the second half like Aaron Rodgers always does, and that's what separates Green Bay from the rest of the teams in the NFC North is they got Rodgers and the other 3 teams don't.
So is Marvin Lewis going to make it to November?
No, boy, they played good, Ringer. In the first half, they played good. They attacked, and then they just quit attacking. You don't quit attacking against teams like the Patriots, which Houston found out. Yeah. Teams like the Packers, these quarterbacks are just too good on those 2 teams, and they're above the rest. Brady and Rodgers.
How about the record for Aaron Rodgers before yesterday's overtime win? 0-7 all time in overtimes. That to me just seemed that was an incredible stat. How can a guy who wins in the fourth quarter and makes finals, how can you be 0-7 in overtime, including postseasons? I thought that was that as soon as they posted that stat, I'm like, well, he is not going to. That's putting the jinx on poor Cincinnati. It was over.
I did not get that interesting stat, but that's a real head scratcher.
That's a head scratcher. It just doesn't add up, and so.
But anyways, big win for the Vikes. They got Detroit next week, noon game in Minnie. So the big thing is Zimmer came out today and said Sam Bradford still is quarterback, and we'll see how quick that knee will heal up now. Yeah. So that should be interesting.
Absolutely. I watched PTI before we taped tonight. Basically, they agreed that Detroit got shafted yesterday.
No.
Do you agree?
No. It's a rule.
It's a rule.
It's a stupid rule, but it's a rule. I don't know why it has to be 10 seconds. They've proven that teams can get up to the line of scrimmage in less than 8. So I think they need to drop that down to 5 just to get rid of the naysayers and say, well, 5 seconds, there's no way any team can get ready in 5.
Okay.
But 8, it's been proven. They can get up, throw a pass, get up to the line of scrimmage and have another play within 8 seconds.
Will the rules change?
Yes.
Will the rule change?
Yes.
Because of this?
Because of this.
Okay.
Yep.
Not till the end of the season, not till next season, though. They're not going to do something mid-season.
No. Okay. They definitely won't do that because the owners won't meet until the season's over. So they got lots of things going on. They got to figure out if they're going to hire Goodell back or not. So I think we'll check that.
Well, it looks like if they just get rid of Jerry Jones, it'd be a done deal. And they're saying he's the only one that's standing in the way.
Yeah, that's what I heard. He's the one kind of saying, let's hold on here. We're not ready to do this quite yet. So obviously, Jones, love him or hate him, you got to respect him. He's always out there in the limelight. He's not afraid of controversy, and I like those people.
Is he going to be a man of his word tonight if anybody kneels or protests?
Guaranteed.
Are they going to be gone?
Guaranteed.
Des Bryant's gone if he...
Gone. Guaranteed.
I'm just going to watch.
That's why we're cutting this show off short, because I want to see what's
going to see what Monday Night.
And why don't you tell the public what's going on tonight with that?
Basically.
Again, we're not trying to get back into this, but
Jerry Jones basically said anybody who protests from the Dallas Cowboys will be fired, will be let go, will be released, and that'll be the end of it. I wonder if some superstar, aka Des Bryant, because he'd be the one to do it because he's got that in him. He would try to challenge Jerry Jones and say, "I'm good buddies with you, Jerry, but you got to see my side of this, and I'm going to do it. And if you try to whatever, then I'm going to haunt you for the rest of your life," type of thing.
Well, I guarantee DeMaurice Smith would jump in, and there'd be Players Association, there'd be lawsuits, and it could get really interesting if this happens. But anyways, I hope nothing happens.
Two undefeated teams only remaining in the NFL: Kansas City and Atlanta.
Yep.
Are you shocked that through just 2 weeks, that's all that's left?
Well, Atlanta should be 1-2 if you think about it.
Yeah, that's true.
Detroit should have beat them.
Well, and then Detroit would be 3.
And Chicago should have beat them in the opening week. They had first and goal from the 3-yard line, and you got a guy by the name of Mike Glennon, some cast off for the Tampa Bay Bucks, and just never got the job done. But tell you what, they learned from their mistakes. They handed the ball to Jordan Howard yesterday, and they ended up beating Pittsburgh in overtime. So
yeah, Pittsburgh looked out of gas yesterday. I turned it over there after the Vikes got over, and their defense looked like it was wore down. The Heat, obviously, but everybody was playing in the same place. So
the whole team looks out of sync. They look tired. Yeah, Le'Veon Bell missing all of training camp, not being there for.
It's not important, Michael. They don't need to be in training camp. They're taking care of themselves.
It's a proven fact that every time anybody misses any certain amount of time, Emmitt Smith missed 2 games there, right in the pinnacle of his career, and wasn't the same back after that. And he was good, but he wasn't elite. So it happens. Players need to practice. If you don't practice, you don't get better. Proven fact. Right, Coach?
100%. What else? Anything else in the NFL we needed to address before we move on to the Twins?
No, other than 0-3, Cincinnati got Cleveland 0-3. I believe those 2 teams play each other, so one of them will get off the schneid. Anybody else sitting there at 0-3?
I looked on right before I came out, and I can't think of anybody else right now that is 0-3. I think everybody else got a win.
New Orleans got a win, and boy, they blew out Carolina, and Carolina's offense is struggling, so they play New England next. So if you want to get good against a bad defense, New England's defense is not good right now.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah, it should be a next good fun next couple weeks here. And again, I will not get into the political side of this stuff, and we'll keep talking sports.
Fair enough. Minnesota Twins, magic number 3 as we tape the show on Monday.
Yeah. Here's the deal.
Huh?
Get a message from my brother. Well, Gerald,
come on. I don't even know what you did, but come on.
So typical. He goes, the magic number versus the Angels is 3 versus, he gives me a list of like 5 teams and says what their magic number is for each individual team. Jared, I don't care. The magic number is 3, okay? Go back to the 70s. Did we ever say, or the 80s, did we ever say the magic number for each individual team that's in contention? No, we didn't have, 18 teams in the playoffs, but come on, Jared. The magic number is 3. It's going to stay at 3 until the Angels or the Twins either win or lose. So, there. I go off of my brother on TV.
I was reading an article this afternoon that said the Twins have only a 4.8% chance of not making the playoffs. I'm like, well, that's pretty good. And that if they were to go 0-6, then the Angels would have to go 4-3 for the week for them not to. I mean, and let's be honest. We just got done playing Detroit, and I don't want to be too complacent, but the Tigers are playing for down the road somewhere. Brad Osmus is done. Whatever else. Cleveland. If they play Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, if Cleveland wins,
we're not getting Cooper.
They're up 3 with 6 games to go. If they were to win a couple of games, the first 2 against the Twins, I would say that pretty much would clinch it almost assuredly, and they might back off on third. Anyway.
Well, they do miss Cooper. Cooper pitched yesterday, so they aren't going to see him. They're going to throw everything at him. They respect the game in Cleveland, okay? And they're going to try to beat the Twins and help other teams. I mean, that's baseball how it should be played.
Yeah, they'd like to get it done sooner rather than later. I mean,
this home field advantage thing. I mean, Houston got beat last night. They were up 4-2. They don't normally get caught when they're ahead, and they did last night. So Chicago and White Sox and the Angels started a 3-game series tonight. And, of course, the White Sox are going to do everything they can to help out the Twins. I mean, they're fellow Central rivals. And
I saw something that the since like August 6th or something, the White Sox are 22 and 24.
Yeah, they've been playing respectable. They give the Twins everything they had. And,
yeah. So you just
when do
never
they
know.
clinch it? What date?
Thursday.
Thursday they clinch?
Thursday they clinch.
Okay, so
by that time there will be 3 wins and or losses in the right direction. So Thursday at the latest, I say, but
that's 6 games. They win 2 of them. They're in. Because that means
the Angels would have.
Angels will have to go 6-1.
Yep.
So that's not going to happen. They're not good enough. So
anything else happening interesting in baseball that you?
I see the big bopper, not a big bopper, but one of my favorite players out in Washington is coming off the IR today. And,
well, actually, I saw a little blurb while I was watching PTI. They actually kept him on the DL for another day because he woke up with the flu this morning.
Oh.
So Harper.
Bryce Harper. Yeah.
Was going to stay right there. Aaron Judge did hit his 49th and 50th.
Yeah, I saw
today.
that.
And that's
steroids.
A new rookie record.
Steroids.
In this case, I'm going to say no.
Okay.
He's ginormous, and he broke Mark McGuire's record of 49 his rookie year. This was, I would say, pre-steroids for Mark McGuire as well. He's a big dude. He's he swings for the fences, and maybe, and not good for the Twins or anybody else. You know, he had that swoon in there, and if he starts hitting the ball, the Yankees become a different team with that kind of threat.
Just throw him curveballs. Make sure you get him over the plate. 200 and some strikeouts already too. Yeah. So don't throw him any heat. Keep the ball outside and keep it moving. So I mean, great baseball season. Good to see the Twins are back in it. I still say the Twins are going to win the first play-in game, and then have a series probably against the Cleveland Indians.
That game would happen not this Tuesday night, but Tuesday night.
Week from tomorrow.
Yeah, a week from tomorrow. A Tuesday game, and then if they would win that, they would start their.
So if they have a play-in game,
that would be on Monday.
Which I told Josh, our buddy from the old Big K. And now we're Twitter buddies now, and I said, what happens, if the Twins have to do the play-in to the play-in game, because he keeps giving me updates on the special number, and so always good to hear from Josh.
How about Wild? Let's move on there. The Wild 3-0 till last night. They lost 5-1 to Colorado. Yeah. I don't want to read anything more into that than they could have been playing whatever, but you sent out a tweet today that said you already got 2 guys going this way and 2 guys going this way and 1 guy going that way.
Daniel Winnick.
Huh?
Daniel Winnick. Right now he's a free agent. I mean, the Wild have him.
Okay.
I was talking to one of my buddies on there. He's I believe he's an attorney out of the Twin Cities, and he was saying, how can we afford him? Well, I said, well, the league's minimum $650. I guarantee he's under league minimum. If the Wild do end up keeping him, he'll be making the league minimum.
Sure.
Which will still leave us close to $1 million left in cap space to make other moves. But I did say Murphy would probably make it, but my good buddy Brandon Molesky, who's on the noon to 3 show down at the Big K fan, he thinks the only way that he might keep is because he's a right-handed shot, which I thought was a good take. He's watched him live, I have, and I've basically watched him in bits and pieces, and I like him because he's always involved. He's always around the puck, whether having it or defensively, he's on somebody. He's got some offensive skills. He came out of the draft as a top, I believe, 15 pick by, I think it was Carolina. Okay. So he was highly regarded coming out of school, and good offensive defensemen sometimes, Mike Riley's finding this out. It's a little harder to adjust to the NHL.
Sure.
You got to be able to play a little more physical, and your offensive skills are diminished a little bit because everybody around you is pretty doggone good. So, but I think Winnick will keep. Somebody's going to be out then. And my guess is Stewart will be in and out of the lineup because of this, and I have no problem with that because, as you know, I'm not a Chris Stewart fan, and
he needs
never have been.
To inspire him, right?
Maybe that's it, but I know Bruce Boudreau loves him, so that's a strike against Winnick. Yeah. But you're not going to, they're not going to send Eck back down to the minors. I know Parise's kind of hurting, and I hope that's not the reason we keep Winnick is because Parise can't play, but. I like Winnick. I made an observation also. He had 12 goals last year. 3 of them were game winners, which I value tenfold.
Sure.
you can have 25 goals, but none of them are game winners, and you're a minus 23. I might not want you.
Right.
But you have 3 game-winning goals out of your 12, plus 2 of the 12 were shorthanded goals. So 5 of his 12 goals were very important key goals. I like key players.
Okay.
And I think Winnick can help him, along with Matt Cullen, and maybe Stewart will be on that line with him. But then what do you do with Ennis? What do you do with Foligno? What do you do with, Eck would be, to me, I guess I look at it, and then I don't see the Wild dropping him back down to Iowa, but they could to start the year. You just never know. They can drop Eck back without having to put waivers on him. So.
Okay.
We shall see. It should be a fun year. We'll do our predictions next week.
Because they start on
next Tuesday.
Tuesday?
I believe the league does, but I don't think the Wild starts till Thursday.
Till Thursday.
Opening game in Detroit at the new Detroit Arena. I can't remember what it's called. I don't think it's called the Joe
It's
anymore.
not called the New Joe?
I don't think so, but
I'm sure somebody bought the rights.
the Wild, that'll be a nationally televised game. It'll probably be on NBCSN, and so that should be the game of the week there, and that should be fun. And I have some good things to say about the Wild, and we'll talk about that next week. But,
Just a little heads up, we didn't get a chance to talk about this, but Willie Corn, now with the Canadiens organization, I heard through the rumor mill today that he will actually get to play with the Canadiens in their 2 preseason games this coming weekend.
Okay.
Mom and Dad are flying up to watch him. He's been promised that those were the 2 games that he was going to get to play with the big clubs. So if you got a chance to get out and watch the Canadiens this weekend on TV, it might be worth your time with Willie getting a chance.
yeah, that's
to
probably
play.
a good move for Willie, just for the fact that the Canadiens lost, 3-4 defensemen. Toronto's top loaded. I mean, they probably got 9 guys that can play in the NHL right now. So probably a good move. I don't know if he'll end up with Brantford or is it Laval. There's 2 Montreal Canadian affiliate teams, and he'll end up at one of them. Hopefully it's the higher of the 2 in the AHL. And I got to talk when me and Billy Mason and Neil went for a little pontoon ride. We stopped over at Deanie Blaze's cabin and had a nice talk with Willie, and we don't agree on everything as far as hockey, so it was kind of fun, but you know what, the best way to solve disagreements is to talk about it, and by the end of the night we were both in agreement.
Okay. I'm awfully curious to know what that discussion was about, but we'll slide.
Oh, nothing big. It's like me and say for example, me and Billy Mason don't agree. Maybe I like a faster game and he likes a slower game. Just an example.
Okay.
No, nothing personal or anything.
No.
Like that.
Just like I said, you sometimes like to be a fly up in the corner of the wall listening in.
Oh yeah, and there's his Uncle Dean. He just sits over there and smiles. Stays out of it. Yeah, and takes off in his little Sea-Doo. He has one of those Sea-Doo things.
Jet ski?
Jet ski. So Deanie just puts on his life jacket and jumps on there, and that's how he kind of unwinds before he jumps in the sauna and gets ready for bed. So that was a fun day. I enjoyed
That sounds like a good day. Where shall we go next?
What else?
I'm sure you want to talk about the Minnesota Lynx.
No.
You want to talk about college football?
No.
No? What's on your mind then?
Well, Gophers, I mean, they didn't play.
Yeah, you got tickets for this weekend.
I am looking forward to watching this running back out of Penn State, though.
Oh.
Could be the best college player since O.J. Simpson. Not to put him in this, but probably the best college player since Gale Sayers, O.J. Simpson, Billy Sims. I mean, we're going way back.
Amazing the other night.
Amazing.
And it's too bad that, not that I'm an Iowa fan, but it's too bad that they had to lose that game the way they did at home. But that's why they play the games, right?
That's why they play the games.
Yeah, it's
exactly.
made it exciting. I do want to make mention of St. Thomas, St. John's this past weekend at Target Field. My chance to be down there to watch that game. It was too hot to watch football. Jeez.
Yeah, 90-some degrees.
It was miserable. If you were in the sun.
Did they wreck the stadium?
I would say no, they did not wreck the field. Left field will be a little beat up in spots, but nothing that I'm sure a concert.
It's because the Johnnies were getting rolled on. The Tommies just came out and did any of those names I mentioned last week, were they even on the roster?
I didn't even look at a roster.
Because I just made those names up.
I'll be honest with you. They Johnny's punted on the first series. They went 3 and out. They punted, and the ball came down about the 25-yard line, and it went right through the hands of the punt returner. And there was a big melee to pick up the ball, and the Johnnies recovered, and they get a field goal, and they left a big, like, skid mark. It looked like there was a spot about 5 feet long, and it looked about this wide, and it looked like, I'm like, well, if that's on like the 5th play of the game, how bad is this field gonna look by the end?
Sure.
There was about 3 more spots by the end of the game that you could see where they were some nasty turf marks that they're going to have to fix. But I did my radio show from there Saturday morning, and I was talking with the guy from the Twins who let us in, and he said they have brand new turf already flown in from Colorado to resurface everything if necessary to resurface. It's the same grass, so it won't look different. I mean, could be a slightly different green, but I'm sure they'll have it fixed up. Probably the biggest thing that they're going to have gone by Friday is the St. Thomas logo out of short left field where the shortstop would go back to get a deep pop fly. He would. They probably will have that taken off of there, I would guess.
Yeah. So who'd you watch the game with then? The St. John boys?
I actually was probably in more of a St. Thomas section where my ticket was at. I went with my brother-in-law, but of the 37,000 people there, I would say more than 20,000 of them were St. John fans.
I believe that.
And so it was quite the atmosphere. It was crazy getting in. We were in the stadium 45 minutes early, and it took us about 15 minutes to get in because there were that many people trying to get in all at the same time.
Where'd you do the coach's corner from?
We did it up in the press box.
They let you in there? Was it easier than when you and I got into the UMD facility?
This was far easier.
Oh,
yes, than when we tried to get in at Amsoil. This was pretty easy. The guy was very accommodating. I had his cell phone number. We got right in, took us right upstairs.
How were the boys in the interview? Good?
Boys were good. They, of course, were very pro St. John.
Yeah, they're both Johnnies.
All 3 of them were Johnnies. The other kid that we had was Gunner's roommate. So we had a very good chat. I enjoyed it. Of course, as we always I get to talk to those kids. Those are our former students, and obviously guys that I've gotten to know very well. And of course, it was great to talk to Wyatt about baseball this summer with Bismarck and everything else. And of course, Gunner moving on to bigger and better things with a full-time job, working in the big city. And
jumping into the big world.
Yeah, and all that kind of stuff. So.
And Wyatt, still going to be a sophomore next year?
Just be a sophomore at St. John's. And
he didn't put me under the bus this show now, did he?
No.
Remember the last time he had him on? He brought up Coach Boly, and he just had a big smile on his face.
Wyatt, nothing like that.
Wyatt, one of my favorite players I coached, and I'm sure he's a.
We did talk about
breath
goalies.
Of fresh air for him.
We talked about goalies not fighting. We kind of got onto that kind. Why goalies don't fight in hockey games, and I said, well, you can't go across the blue line. And he said he wasn't much of he wouldn't have been very good at that anyway.
Wyatt's just a nice kid. He's too doggone nice. But he's doing well at St. John's. And again, the only reason I took St. John's is because Jimmy Barkowski. Sure. Otherwise, I like St. John's, but I like Jimmy. But I like to give him a hard time.
Of course, that's part of the deal.
It's what I do.
What else?
Well, I golfed this Friday.
I saw the tweet for the first time in 15 years.
Yeah.
I'm proud of you.
Absolutely had a blast.
For letting it go.
It was a lot of fun, a lot of familiar faces and happy faces out there.
And you still can hit it around?
I can still put it out there. I mean, I don't have the equipment
to do that.
Yeah, and I played with some great. Clayton Wenberg was on my team, and of course Timmy Anderson. I mean, who's better than those two as far as
good guys? I
was wondering why they let me on their team. Good guy, questionable. And then on the other team, the Dexter's, Sandy Dexter had his son up, Shane, and
good golfer.
Gosh, who's the other guy? Good guy. He's more like me though. He's a little more flamboyant. But we ended up going even par. Our group, Shane Dexter chipped in on the last hole, which ended up being our number 4, the par 5, and they ended up beating us by 1, so they ended up 1 under. But it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it, and you know, it was, I guess the most refreshing thing is, you know, I'm not that good, or, you know, I don't, because I don't play as much, and it didn't bother me. I thought that would be my biggest hurdle was, you know, can you play a game and not be, you know, and be average at it, and that didn't end up being an issue. The company, to me, the 6 people in our group, it was just the camaraderie ship. Again, some of the things that I didn't get through my thick skull is probably the most important thing, is the people you golf with and the camaraderie ship. It isn't all about winning and losing. Same thing when you go fishing. It's not about how many fish you catch, it's who you're out in the boat with and things like that. How's that for...
that is going from the start of the program where things were pretty toxic or whatever.
Yeah, we ended it on a kind of a good, refreshing note, and but great time out there, great place. Everybody out there is having, I mean, the customer service out there is tenfold. And again, I'm not going to promote the business or anything, but they're doing a lot of good things right, and I definitely will be back a lot more next year.
Sounds good.
So,
want to make sure we say something about Looney's here for them being so accommodating to us all the time.
A little out near tonight, but
we appreciate Matt and Paul here and everything that they do for allowing us to come out here every Monday night and tape our show and work around our schedules when we decide we want to go at 7 and 5. And being very flexible and helping us. So thanks to Matt and Paul for that. Come on out to their establishment here and wish them continued success. I think things are doing well. We always have a talk about the crowd, and you can hear tonight there's a good crowd here on this Monday evening. And so anything else?
I have nothing.
Next week we're going to do our NHL predictions.
We'll do NHL, so bring some of that. We'll talk a lot of NHL, maybe dabble into the Timberwolves a little bit, tell you what's going on with them. We should know more. Talk about the Vikings win over Detroit and the Gophers win over Maryland, which I will be at.
And the MLB playoffs will be getting started, so we'll have to
lots of stuff to talk about. We'll have prediction Monday next week.
Thanks, everybody.
Don't take us too serious.